So, ladies and gentlemen, we have an exciting guest with us today, Bob Price. Bob, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. I'm Bob Price. I'm the Director of Global Supply Chain Management for Kimball International, the furniture group.
This is a new position for you. You're recently promoted. What were you doing when you first came across Next Level Purchasing?
I was previously the Director of Global Sourcing, which is one of the business units that I still have a sphere of influence over, but I was only focusing really on procurement globally.
I see. And can you tell us a little bit more about your company? What does your company do?
Kimball is a $1.1 billion organization that has an electronics segment and a furniture segment. I truly support the furniture group, which is combined office furniture and hospitality furniture.
How long have you been in the purchasing arena?
Probably 20 years or more.
So if you've been in purchasing for that long, what made you seek out additional training such as Next Level Purchasing offers in their certification program?
In my previous role, my focus was to how can we take the group's performance to another level? How can we re-engineer what we do to think more strategically? So I wanted a couple of common themes, one being development planning, a common set of tools for the group. And when I looked at the Next Level Purchasing, it gave me that platform that was very convenient for my folks who traveled quite a bit globally. They could always access the program, and again, it came back to I had a core level business knowledge that we could talk across any commodity.
Well, as I understand, you've had like a gangbuster year. Can you kind of give us a synopsis of what your department was able to do over the past year?
If you look at our quality metrics of supply reliability and quality as a couple of factors, we've gone to better than almost 98% on time for suppliers when we were below 90%. So we've had quite a bit of turnaround.
That's almost a 10% increase in your delivery times. That's pretty good.
It is. And when you look at cost reductions, which is near and dear to everyone's heart, when you look at the cost savings per commodity manager last year, we were just around $500,000, just under. And this year, we're averaging about $1.1 million. So
wow.
In a one-year turnaround, we've literally had over 100% improvement in just cost reduction savings. And that's implemented savings. And unlike many companies, we try to make it pretty simple. We measure cost savings less the previous price paid. So that takes out any of the clutter of this is avoidance or whatever. This has to be true savings.
Wow. The results of all of this work that you've done, I know that it helped you individually. I know it helped your staff. I know it helped your company. But what about your customers? I mean, the real trifecta here would be if we did this and did this better, that we would actually help Kimball customers as well. Is there any evidence of that?
Well, I think the value proposition we bring, and it's kind of a multifaceted proposition. One, of course, is the value and price as consumers we all think about. We're very price conscientious, and ultimately, as we can do things smarter, more efficient, more cost effective, that makes our products more inexpensive for the end user. So ultimately, they pay less for a greater product. Also, obviously, because of the impact of the supply chain, as we make the right sourcing decisions, we increase reliability and the speed to market. And again, as consumers today, we all want things that are better and faster, and we want it on our door yesterday. And by making all the right decisions through sourcing and procurement, we enable that to happen. So ultimately, this translates not only to the income statement for the company, but directly to our customers and the value that Kimball's able to bring.
What's the relationship? Where do you think the things that folks learned by being part of the certification program, how did that connect to helping you have this banner year?
Well, I think this is, as you said, a component, and I see this as being the developmental component. What are the skills and knowledge that someone on your team really needs to have day in, day out to be effective? And quite often, at least in our business, we find that you get caught up in the transactions of supplier problems or negotiating deals, and you really don't focus on skill development. And that's what Next Level Purchasing enabled us to do, I think, with certifications this year, is we really got very focused on some things we wanted to apply. It was, again, a cross-section of vocabulary, common terms, a common approach that we could consistently apply. And I think that focus helped us get the results we achieved this year.
There are other certification programs out there. What attracted you specifically to Next Level Purchasing's approach?
I think the core of the curriculum being very focused and being appropriate for the skill level. Again, I was looking at commodity managers that had spheres of influence from $15 million each to about $40 million each. So I wanted something that wasn't just day in and day out transactional PO stuff, but did talk about cost savings, talked about management, strategic sourcing, and I really found that the next level purchasing curriculum gave me that kind of cross-section of topics.
Now, some people are not very comfortable with the idea of studying online. Why did you think this would be more effective than sending them to a 3-day workshop someplace?
Two things. One was accessibility and the freedom that they could really learn at their own timing. And again, because they traveled, that was critical to me. And secondly, because they had this kind of on-your-own access electronically, they could go back multiple times and review information. And I just thought that that was better than sitting in a classroom for 3 hours that when the instructor left, so did the knowledge base.
It sounds like you're essentially trying to get everybody to sing off the same page by having them all take this same course. Was that your strategy behind this?
That's a piece of it, and you really had to look not just broad brush for the group, but we actually went through individual development planning, and a component of that for each person could have been functional training, leadership training, it could have been commodity-based training, so it was really customized. We had, I believe it was 4 individuals that went through the entire certification process with next level purchasing, whereas we had other folks in the team take selected modules because I didn't think that they were either appropriate because of the person's skill set and time. So we tried to customize this rather than a broad brush approach.
So in other words, Next Level was flexible enough that you could put some people in the full certification program, or you could kind of select, like looking at electives and figuring out which are the pieces that each of these members of the team might need. Is that essentially how you approached it?
Absolutely, and that was probably, again, a feature that I thought was very attractive. Rather than just a broad brush, you've got to put everybody into this 4-hour module, I could come up with kind of a customized approach and give specific modules that were appropriate to procurement people.